Vainglorious vanguard.
Knowledge born.
Yeah.
United Front.
Tell it.
What you want, what you want, what you want.
To the Knowledge Radio.
We in here. What you got? Dot.
Work hard as a slave to one day be your savior. The wave unwavering. This is a labor of love. Rise with a purpose every day. Invigorated. If we were on TV, we'd be 10 times syndicated. If we waited for validation, a paycheck or accolades, we'd be starved, already lost or ran away. But when you're square, solid, and you circle too, you don't need a place for silence. The concept is conquered through media, 9 areas of people activity. A mix that don't lose ethnicity. Tightness that don't lose elasticity. Explicitly, this isn't where we get the novice regard. Nah, this is where knowledge is born. Last time that I checked, I'm undefeated. Deliver edicts, can't reason when the gods build and manifest freedom. When lines get crossed, they may push a loss because they get handed a check. We kick your can and cancel your cancerous gestures. A prophet vision, precision, the prescription for the sickness is to inoculate your fate with the winning. Arrogant beginners turn to humble endings. And US with KBA is a win-win. 1K, 1K.
Ty here, RBG, Bimbe, fresh. To the flow, if you get that dough, let them know. If you finna get more, just bounce.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Bimbe fresh. I said I'm Bimbe fresh. Is it in the sauce left? They asking, is it in the drip left? Cause I'm Bimbe fresh. Ty RBG. I said I'm Bimbe fresh. Nation association. Is it in the sauce left? They asking, is it in the drip left? Look, would you like fit? Would you like shoes? Would you like feel? All eyes blue, staring at the clothes like a shoulder. New, red and white magic, baby, what you gon' do? Open rings bounce, let me see you smile. Lockers and them killers, African style. Beads on freeze, looking like wow. When they call my D, it is finna go down. Moving like a king, double act swing. Give me 60 feet so I can do my thing. Shout out to a kind of this ain't no dream. Go to all your tunes, you can see the real thing. What I mean, y'all, Bimbe fresh. Let me see it on me. I said I'm Bimbe fresh. Is it in the sauce left? The accent is it in the drip left? Cause I'm Bimbe fresh. I said I'm Bimbe fresh. Is it in the sauce left? The accent is it in the drip left? Might as well go ahead, be about it. If you feel it coming on, don't fight it. Just wanna see how many y'all body. If you feel it coming on, don't fight it. Just If you came down on you, what you gonna do now? In the middle of the flow, girl, work that out. Just jump. If you came down on you, what you gonna do now? In the middle of the flow, girl, work that out. Just jump. Come on. I'm sweating, I'm breathing heavy, my head light. Drums in the vocal ringing, I'm feeling right. Singing and dancing on what a pretty sight. Probably gonna keep it going until the night. Energy up, all guards down. Homie gon' buck, shorty gon' clown. Shake it, move it all around. Take it down to the ground. Bimbe fresh. Oh Lord, I said I'm Bimbe fresh. Is it in the sauce left? Yes, it is in the drip left. Cause I'm Bimbe fresh. A Bimbe fresh. Is it in the sauce left? Yes, it is in the drip left. To the flow. If you getting that dough, let them know. If you finna get more, just bounce. To the flow, If you know, you know.
And as we analyze Jean-Jacques Dessalines, he is an Ogun. Ogun is what? Ogun always speak very frankly. Ogun speak in very direct terms. He's usually hated or loved. He puts out his word, and his word is bond, and bond is life. And he shall give his life before his word shall fail.
Tahir RBG. Yeah, they sneak dissing on they post, taking shots. Ain't no thing to put your name off in that pot. If you know, you know. All-purpose rappers, y'all some surface scratchers. This my lifestyle, bruh. Your crew is full of actors. Black power scammers raise sand, but get missing when you ask about their plans. If you know, you know. YouTube stars talking they ass off. Future told me snatch y'all fucking mask off. Hold up. Repat Nation is the situation. High percentage of these stay woke niggas is faking. High percentage of these stay woke niggas is agents. Highly private conversations, these niggas is taping. Brothers fussing like bitches, sisters call themselves witches. Creflo Dollar, Umar Johnson, you tell me the difference. School done raised that half a ticket off that crowdfunding. Now he wanna be a lawyer. Y'all gonna give him something? Open the can, let them worms wiggle. Either you with it or you flogging, there is no middle. Black Panther came out, Massa gave you a little. Then still with crackers hanging Cosby, y'all Negroes is fickle. Still with crackers on Monique, y'all Negroes is fickle. Couple bands made them dance, y'all Negroes is rentals. Got honorariums, they all aboard. Elementary level pimping, they all fall for it. Trust, always complaining about Trump, what he's supposed to do. You sounding like a chump. If you know, you know. Trump and Obama is the same villain. Global natural resource stealing, killing the same children. You bought a Draco and a Glock, now you on the gram showing what you copped. If you know, you know. FYI, keep it a secret. Don't let our enemy peep it. They still don't know how to beat it. Whoa. Face of a Huru movement's a flaming faggot. Damn, Chairman O'Malley, what the fuck happened? You know that homo shit ain't RBG, but I ain't tripping, OG. Just keep it far from me. These babalawos in Africa empowering crackers, giving our shade up, cause they willing to pay up. You think them 40 plus slave dungeons was made up? Priests in the states violating, y'all need to wake up. Recently conscious celebrities, we applaud you. You wanna help? First ask how we involve you. Cause all that quote unquote speaking my truth full of contradictions is really misleading our youth. See, it's this thing we call paying dues, from which no man is exempt. Proof of allegiance to this movement you win. Too many dedicated warriors live their life on the line for egomaniacs to snub it every time. That young people versus old shit trying to control shit is not lit. If you know, you know. We can learn from every generation. Theory, practice, and then be patient. That men and women competition ain't no reason it's existing in our mission. If you know, you know. Black man, woman, and child business. Division is lack of vision and senseless. Yeah. If you know, you know. www.tahirrbg.com. It's a lifestyle. The new album coming at you real soon, baby. Yeah. If you know, you know. Quit all that dumb.
Hell no.
Yeah, let's go. United Front. RBG. Yeah. Let's go. I can't shake it loose. This the hate produced. I'm here to break the noose and fight the devil. Ain't no truce. Raise it another level. Shame the devil. Say the truth. And look him in his eye when the enemy's facing you. I can't shake it loose. This the hate produced. I'm here to break the noose and fight the devil. Ain't no truce. Raise it another level. Shame the devil. Say the truth. And look him in his eye when the enemy's facing you. You peak pale skin beast. I hate your red, white, and blue. And Ku Klux Klan sheets. I hate your president, your senate, and your campaign speech. I hate the British and the Romans and the goddamn Greeks. It's no peace, yeah. Moral persuasion doesn't work with Caucasians. You speak his language through violence with guns blazing. So what I'm saying, negotiating with Satan is to waste of time. You out your African mind. Gonna make these devils pay for every single crime ever committed. Cracker, you did it, now it's time to die. I sprayed a ratchet, I batted, no moving backwards. I'm sending bullets at crackers and all faggots. Forward is the motion. Killing devils on different levels, concocting potions to stop them from encroaching. On our way of life, I got a knife to slit his throat quick. Get my people hyped, cause what I write is always dopeness, focus. I can't shake it loose, this the hate produced. I'm here to break the loose and fight the devil, ain't no truce. Raise it another level, shame the devil, say the truth. And look him in his eye when the enemy's facing you. I can't shake it loose, this the hate produced.
This the hate you, man.
I'm here to break the loose and fight the devil, ain't no truce. Raise it another level, shame the devil, say the truth. And look him in his eye when the enemy's facing you.
Take a step in my lane, I'm projecting the pain. Visions and pictures in my veins of us tortured and slain. So many sons and daughters slaughtered, some known on the name. Bringing my eye to the situation is why I came. I shake every pet nation, gon' exterminate. Marcus Garvey, Mugabe, politic, run them all away. King Piachi type methodology, how the gods slay. Try life and I don't play. Kill these crackers in broad day. Enter the scene, got them clean and watch me swerve out it. Big juju in my pocket, I ain't worried about it. That go for grown-ups to babies. Salute my Baba Khalid, Muhammad. We solid. I call for balance, is very valid. Yeah, murder these devils is divine order. We opposites, I reject the mixing like oil and water. Africa for Africans, representing them words strong. I say shut them borders down and let us get a purge on.
I can't shake it loose, this the hate produced. I'm here to break the loose and fight the devil, ain't no truce. Raise it another level, shame the devil, say the truth. And look him in his eye when the enemy's facing you. I can't shake it loose, this the hate produced. I'm here to break the loose and fight the devil, ain't no truce. Raise it another level, shame the devil, say the truth. And look him in his eye when the enemy's facing you.
This ain't no kumbaya vibe, my yasa is a war cry. That's my war cry, double H famine, it's wartime. Devils want it all, was peaceful coexistence. Enter separation, he's violently resistant. Coupe tech, bullet high, hit the deck when bullets fly. The devil won't change and needs to be euthanized. The stupidness, foolish minds, you will get, use your blind. Suicide, trusting this cracker is suicide. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, you know the play. That peace talk is juvenile, it really don't hold no weight. Fighting hate with love sounds great in theory, but never ever work in history. Name one place that this cracker went. Name one place that this cracker left alone. I bet that they was war prone. Keep a piece in your wardrobe and know the world's a war zone.
I can't shake it loose, this the hate produced. I'm here to break the loose and fight the devil, ain't no truce. Raise it another level, shame the devil, say the truth. And look him in his eye when the enemy's facing you. I can't shake it loose, this the hate produced. I'm here to break the loose and fight the devil, ain't no truce. Raise it another level, shame the devil, say the truth. And look him in his eye when the enemy's facing you.
VMC. It's family business. Young Yacht on the beat. See me around the VMC. That motherfucking family. Believe that. that thumper. On my side, that fold. Yes, sir. No disrespect to my knee, knuckle, my two games so swollen. If it starts with a letter, better believe it's a key. RPG around the barrel, that's why I call it a reaper. So please try to run, the missiles will he see you. It will be a close casket, in the words from the preacher. He was at the funeral last week, but the words didn't reach him. Should've made the words to a rap song. Through some speakers, so I keep it on 100. No percent of talk about drums. Yes, sir. It'll beat it up from the back to trying to run. Black power up in your power ain't like insufficient funds. They say hate's like a drug. If you do once, you do it again. I really ain't got time. Been the cut count on these Benjamins with no money. Count on my hands, do just fine. You believe in this body bag if you choose to cross that line. It's a thin line between love and hate, so I left them on flat line. It's a thin line between love and hate, so I left them on flat line. Black power up in your power ain't like insufficient funds. Black power up in your power ain't like insufficient funds. Black power up in your power ain't like insufficient funds. Black power up in your power ain't like insufficient funds. Black power up in your power ain't like insufficient funds. Black power up in your power ain't like insufficient funds. Black power up in your power ain't like insufficient funds. Black power up in your power ain't like insufficient funds.
Bobby and T, we handle our biz, so I know by now you know what it is. And if you do not, I'ma let you know this. We bumping through speakers, you're running your lips. Wait, freeze, hold up, stop. The big man on campus, you know that it's rock. No, I ain't new to this, ain't with no foolishness. You wanna throw your balloon and get popped. Don't really care if you like me or not. Climbing the ladder, you straight to the top. Zilla gorilla ain't throwing no barrels, I'm loading the barrels while I lick off a shot. No, I am no sparrow, my eyes on the knot. Counting for the fam, put it in the pot. I'm in Nirvana when blessing the mic. When I'm on the road, you know I'm a rock. When you hear that Huey, yeah, you know that's QC. I'm coming down the lane like the freight train. Yeah, 2, 3. King James and y'all lanes in the back of your sweat seat. Juicy, y'all paperweight, that's loose leaf. I'm 2 stacks, that's 2G, and I'm gone.
Black power up in your power ain't like insufficient funds. Black power up in your power ain't like insufficient funds. Black power up in your power ain't like insufficient funds. Black power up in your power ain't like insufficient funds. Black power up in your power ain't like insufficient funds. Black power up in your power ain't like insufficient funds. Black power up in your power ain't like insufficient funds. Black power up in your power ain't like insufficient funds. Black power up in your power ain't like insufficient funds. Black power up in your power ain't like insufficient funds. Black power up in your power ain't like insufficient funds. Black power up in your power ain't like insufficient funds. Yeah, level up daily. Yes, sir. Fuck you, baby. This shit ain't gravy, man. We walk this shit every day. Not a trend, not a fad. Never. Stand on that square. Be about this family business. Hear me? Always. Kings and gods and goddesses. Queens. We the greatest. RBG Nation. Greatness walking. Like first. Fuck all the talking. Huey. Rock VMC. Rock VMC. Know that. Rock VMC.
Knowledge bomb. What's the science, baby?
Peace and Black Power family. Welcome to another episode of New Knowledge Radio. Place for Knowledge is Born. This is your host, Knowledge Born Law, and this is our After Midnight edition. After midnight. And we live. Been a couple of days, I believe, since we've been live. So come through real quick. I'm not going to be on that long. Just read a couple of things and then play one of my favorite videos from Baba Steve Coakley Sr., peace be upon him, and do a little reflection, and we out. You can subscribe to the show here, www.youtube.com/Do the Knowledge Radio. That's DOTHAKNOWLEDGERADIO. We got a special month, September, dedicated to the African woman. So if you're a brother or a sister and you want to come through and show some love to the African woman, you got some tips, you got some info you want to drop in whatever facet which that is your area of expertise. You just want to show some love to the African woman. I mean, all the hell that they go through, it'd be nice to see, that unity and solidarity amongst brothers and sisters showing their love. So for the month of September, that is the focus. And October, specifically, that would be in order to do it for the brothers. So we got that going on. And if you want to do that, you can email me, donazradio@gmail.com, or you can inbox me on Facebook, Jonathan Bourne Jackson on Facebook, dedicated to that revolutionary warrior man child, Jonathan Jackson. Also, you can inbox me, Knowledge Won't Allow on Facebook, or do Knowledge Radio on Facebook as well. You can follow the show by subscribing here on YouTube. Also, you can follow the show on Twitter. I Knowledge 115 on Twitter and on Instagram. And Knowledge 357 on Instagram. I'm looking to fill up these slots. Ideally, I would like a brother and a sister for every day of the month. But we already at the 5th. We got a few people coming through tomorrow. So ideally, for the rest of the month, we want it filled up. Slots are there. Slots are available. Like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Come in, share your talents, your skills. Send a message of upliftment and empowerment to our sisters. We want to hear from the sisters and from the brothers. We had an amazing start with the goddesses, the mother goddesses of Phoenix who come through. And just want to keep the flow going. Some amazing information was imparted during that exchange. So again, if you are a brother or sister that has love, honor, and respect for the African woman, for the Black woman, come through and allow your voice to be heard. So that's that. Again, subscribe to the show here, youtube.com/Do the Knowledge Radio, DOTHAKNOWLEDGERADIO. Check out our hub site. Let me pull it up because I ain't done it in a while. Excuse me. Let me pull it up. I ain't done it in a while. knowledgeradio.com. If you go here, see everything show related. You can donate here. You can donate via the super chat. You can donate via those links that are going across the screen. Cash App $ Knowledge Won't Allow, or PayPal.me/Do Knowledge Radio. We got a lot going on in regards to our community, and we're looking to close out this year strong. We have a goal, and we're helping other entrepreneurs, other people, other families as well that tune in to the broadcast. But our goal is $1,500 to raise for the youth that we have been feeding since March to close out the year to help offset and defray the cost of the holiday season as it approaches, the cold front as it approaches, clothes, boots, jackets, Thanksgiving and Christmas. So that goal is solely focused around giving back to our community and continuing this thing going in addition to providing meals 5 days a week. So you see the Cash App, you see the PayPal, show you the website. Everything that is collected here is diverted to that particular cause, 100%. Let me just show this website real quick. So www.donotsradio.com. Got everything show related. All kind of things going on. Links to the shows on Blog Talk, all of the information here, social media wise. Let's go to the marketplace. Boom, click market. And it'll direct you to the place to go and check out this apparel right here, DTK Apparel. And y'all see what we got going on right here. It's another way to contribute if you don't want to donate solely, you want something for your money. You can see this merchandise we got here. I'm going to just scroll down, let y'all take that in. See what we got going on. Different designs. All of it. You want to support the station, you want to rep. We got that for you. On deck. Got that for you on deck. You can see everything. Different designs. Got a couple more designs that add to here actually. So you see that. Got a phone case for your phone and all that. The bags for you to go shopping. Boom, all over tees. Everything got going on. Even got the onesies, for the little babies. So you got that. Boom. It's going down. All of these designs right here for you. See what's going on. Long sleeve, short sleeve, hoodie, leggings, all that. Throw blanket. Got the wall, put the joint on the wall. Okay. So you seeing everything that's going on, and it's a myriad of colors that's there. So you see that. RBG Corona free right there. Okay. Let the world know. Boom. Bong, bong. See all that. And like I said, there's some more designs I got to put up there. So I just wanted y'all to see that real quick. I don't do that enough. So check out the website, hub site. That's there. Let me go to other sites so you can see the services that we are imparting in the hood, in addition to the outreach initiative with the food. Show y'all this website real quick. Another thing I don't do enough right here. Let y'all see this. DTK Empower You. Okay? Consultant services, shop, radio, YouTube. You can donate here as well. So our mission statement right here. Do Knowledge Radio was established to provide an unbiased and objective platform to speak to the psychodynamic, traumatic experiences and social ills, maladies, and calamities affecting the current reality of Black people in America and Africans of the diaspora around the globe. Our mission is to provide a holistic, solution-based media outlet offering the practical applications properties through a social engagement that is delivered through an African-centered lens. That's our mission statement. And I know I was heavy in the realm of African-centered psychology with this kind of mission statement right here. So yeah, interesting. So we got DTK Empower You, got DTK Strategic Planning and Consultant, Do Knowledge Radio. You see that right there on the joint. Got that. You can go listen. So you see what's going on. And a little sit ample of the products right there. All right. So just want y'all to see what it's looking like. Consulting services, yeah. Shout out to my sister, web designer, Najeta Unk, for doing all of that work with us. You see it. See everything we got going on. Bang, bang. Radio, of course, you've seen it. They go to links right there. Got a array of services going on. Okay, so these are opportunities right there to leverage these services. And this is what we are providing for the youth for free. We're not in a position to pay. So money is never the motivator behind what we do. So there's a lot going on. I just wanted to share that with y'all real quick. Got some other stuff too, just waiting for it to get solidified. Got DTK Inspires coming. So y'all get the chance to see that aspect of motivational speaking. So we got DTK Multimedia services right there where you got hosting. So whether it's virtual hosting, whether it's physical hosting, whether it's consulting, whether it's small group consulting, whether it's event planning, any of those things that fall under that umbrella, providing those services, and also strategic planning sessions. So if you need a mind outside of your mind to sit down with you and map out a plan, provide those services as well. Our at-risk youth program is for the ages 7 to 18, and then the strategic planning services is from 19 to 35. So these are all services there that you can leverage for your particular benefit, depending on where you are and what your goals, aims, and objectives are. So we got that as well. All right, got that. Covered that. Let me read this from my sacred text in Yasashem, a calendar of revolutionary daily thoughts by Jinga Living Ancestor, Dr. Wally Kabumani Baruti. We here on September the 4th. Oh, September the 5th. Now my bad. After midnight. Shout out to my Nisu, Banu. His solar return was on yesterday. So, Rama suit in the fur, the suit. And let me keep it moving. So if y'all have questions or comments or something like that, and y'all on one of these other places where it's streaming, all y'all got to do is come through on YouTube, and I'll deal with your questions or your commentary. So let me get into this right here. September 5th. It says, ain't no saving the devil. He got death in his veins. And that's a quote from the African insurrection modality, African insurrection music, African insurrection missionaries, United Front. So let's get into Bible's explanation. Imagine that there's a war raging in our universe on both sides. The one we see here and the other one. Imagine that the spiritual realm truly is an extension of this physical realm with the racial politics that contaminate this reality being carried over to the other side in a battle of good against evil, with those genoculturally evil working to seriously turn the genoculturally good against their nature, so that when they transcend, they will be fighting on the wrong side there, as they are spiritually supporting the wrong side here. Imagine that discord rages there as here. Imagine that we are in more and more trouble because those among us who seek whiteness here remain confused there. Imagine that no energy is wasted, that all energy must go somewhere, and that evil energy becomes so many souls are in support of the negative. Evil energy is becoming or has become the majority. I don't mean an evil energy composed of one or two misdeeds, but the genocultural kind, acilically infused in Europeans, the kind that has gradually permeated the rest of this world in the form of ignoring the life rules of Ma'at and selfish, narrow-minded spirituality among those who go around pretending that speaking peace into a determined chaos will make it so. Imagine that Europeans and others are aware of this, even if only vaguely, and we have forgotten. What would you need to do for yourself, our people, and our ancestors? The affirmation states, I will transcend as a warrior. The affirmation states, I will transcend as a warrior. The affirmation states, I will transcend as a warrior. And that was a reading from Sass, a calendar of revolutionary daily thoughts. How will you transcend? Is the research question that will get you to look deep into the depths of your soul, the depths of your being. Take stock and inventory of your life in the physical realm. In this incarnation, how will you transcend? You decide. Were you true to your mission? Were you true to the aims, goals, and objectives set forth? Were you true to the contract that you agreed to when you incarnated into the physical realm? How will you transcend? How will you aid and assist these future generations that you leave in the physical realm to pick up where you left off? How will you aid them? Or will you be a blockage or a hindrance to them? Will you have to be someone that they remove from their ancestral list? These are all things that you must take into account. And the deciding factor is today. The deciding factor is right now. The deciding factor is how you gravitate towards a particular way of being, of thinking, of acting, of feeling, of imparting. How will you transcend? So this affirmation is speaking to the essence of your goals, your aims and objectives, your word, your deed, your mind, your spirit and soul, your focus, your essence, your being. How will you transcend this physical realm? How will you transcend this physical realm? So this affirmation states that I will transcend as a warrior. This will be a collective mind state, a collective goal, a collective aim, a collective objective. So those after you, you've trained up in the way of warriorhood in whatever realm, aim, responsibility, and goal and mission that they have in life. So if they're agriculturalist, a warrior agriculturalist, if they're an educator, a warrior educator, if they are those who shape and mold minds in regards to an influencer, a warrior influencer. How are you influencing those minds toward what aim, toward what goal, toward objective? Everybody not meant for the front line, but you're meant for the front line for whatever mission you are called here to do. Embrace that mission wholeheartedly and become a master craftsman in that particular field. And along that way, you put all of your time, your energy, and the effort that you can into perfecting that craft, because that craft is your offering in the physical world. And it has ramifications in the world that is unseen yet seen and heard at the same time. And that we are chief ambassadors from that way to this way, and from this way to that way. So how will you transcend as a warrior? This is a question. And you must research, meaning search again within the deepest recesses of your mind, your heart, your body, and spirit to make a determinant factor. If you put something on that equal sign, you have to show your work. If you put something on an equal sign, if you solve for X or Y or Z, you must put some effort in regards to the articulation of your work to show and to prove. So if you say, I will transcend as a warrior, where's your evidence to prove that beyond a reasonable doubt? Where's the evidence? In your word, in your thought, in your deed, in your words, in your thoughts, in your deeds to confirm said affirmation. So again, y'all can get this from www.akobenhouse.com. That is AKOBENHOUSE.com. You can get that and all of Baba's other books from that site, and that is the chief funding site to support Ackman Institute. So let's get these books and let's ensure that we're supporting our Bible. So we're going to transition from that to one of my favorite videos from Bible Steve Coakley Sr., peace be upon him, that is Sappho, that warrior ancestor who gave his life for us. And everything that he said and everything that he did, he gave his life for us. So I'm going to go to that video. Go to that video. See, I hear his words. And say a little bit about it at the end. And then we're going to go. So just want y'all to check it out. And listen with your mind, your heart, and your spirit. And understand what it costs. What it costs to stand while others are kneeling and laying, while others have departed from this particular way. Understand what it costs. You know, I'm here to venerate, to honor, to celebrate, to cherish. This is just one of the various things that are done in this process of the restoration of the sanctity of the African family, the sanctity of the African woman, the sanctity of the African man, the sanctity of the African child, the sanctity of the African elder, the sanctity of the African ancestor, the sanctity of the African community, the sanctity of the African state, the sanctity of the African nation, and the sanctity of the African intercontinental community. These are all of our odes. So let's get into it. Let y'all check it out. I'll just show the audio so that way I won't have to keep pausing it to show the picture. I'll show it for a second, maybe it'll work, but I got y'all. Robert Steve Coakley Sr. Make sure y'all go check him out. And check out his son, Robert Steve Coakley Jr. For this information.
If I have not convinced you now, in spite of all of the efforts over all of these years to stop critical information about the enemy from being relayed on a grassroots level, if I have not convinced you by now, I will never convince you. After I left here in the last program, I listened to some of the commentary in regards to the 10 hours worth of information that I had presented here and in other places that was accessible to the people. The information, the best I can tell in lieu of any challenge to repudiate it, is beyond reproach. One's personal feelings about how they had to swallow or accept or listen to the things that I say in carrying those facts have found that it is not the convincing of the information that will make us move. The facts are irrefutable. But the enemy is so wise that it becomes the personality of the bearer of the information that stops the people from beating the enemy that kicks them all day and all night. I listened to some of the laughter and I felt so bad for the victims because the leadership I know does what it must do so that it can contain and control the people from beating the specific honkies that got the money, the 0.1% of the population that controls 72% of the wealth. That 0.1% pays a lot of money to be protected. And it protects itself in some very subtle, unusual, and almost happenstantial ways. That happenstantial disengagement or disrespect of the knowledge is what our community has suffered from. If you watch Garvey, I'll stand here and talk to you 5 hours about Cecil Rhodes. Pick up philosophy and opinion, and there's Garvey on Cecil Rhodes. But you don't know Garvey for fighting Cecil Rhodes because the leadership had to assure that he was not the subject. It's Du Bois versus Garvey. When it came down to Malcolm X, and Malcolm had kicked to the point of wanting to get at the jugular vein of the hunky, the last speech. It's not Elijah Muhammad. It's the international white power structure that's headquartered in New York, Paris, England, etc. And they were imperial, colonial remnants, and they continued. And he said it, but the last speech was stricken from the record by Spike Lee as incoherent. And the result was it was Malcolm versus Elijah. Every time the engagement comes, here is Coakley versus Amos Wilson. It's not Coakley versus the honky, because Coakley gonna kill the honky. And Coakley doesn't want to have to beat or abuse his own people for the privilege to kill the honky, because the honky gone. Nothing, no ridicule, no misstatements without documentation, no petty little frivolous little laughter that I heard on those tapes was the sickest thing I ever heard from a people with no force. You sit up and look at an election, and each and every time, I don't care if it's Dinkins, Good, Brad, I don't care who it is, what they win, I don't care if it's the African group, the religious group, we have failed somehow to stop the honky. And all I ever want in life is the privilege to fuck him up. That's all I want. Now, if you're going to get in my way and I'm going to fuck the honky up, I might end up having to fight with you on the way for the right to beat the honky. But I don't want to beat you. But I might if I have to. And I will accept the abuse and the disrespect of me and the information for the right to fulfill the mission. I am beyond the sensitivity of your opinions. It will not change the honky. He is advancing without hesitation. Look at the honky. It's the honky right here in the neighborhood. I was just in Boston last night. And New York Times bought the Boston Globe, so it's the same honky. Colonialism is back and not a moment too soon. Anybody know anything about this article? Y'all read under this? Yeah, it was in the Times, it sure was, but it said that honky get ready to take Africa. But ain't we got nobody on the shift called Africa? Ain't nobody on shift called Africa, point Africa. We got religious point, political point, African point. But no, it's Coakley versus the brother. While the honky advances. Honky say, nigga so confused, I can tell him in his face, I'm gonna take his ass. Because he got people in place to assure that the analogy remains brother versus the brother. I know the strategy. I go all over this city, just the faces and the names who bear it change. If I had to pressure your ass tomorrow The spy network in our community is so easily to find and to flush out. We could beat you and burn you in 30 seconds flat and prove you are who you are. We have people in some of these places that type out your vouchers. This is deep penetration. I want to tell you, the game we playing with the honky ain't no joking shit. A lot of people have died for the right to play the game. I don't know what you in it for. Maybe this is what you do after work, on the weekend. Go home and read the books. But I don't know. I have fought and lost for the right to fight the honky all day long. I do and fit just as I see. I have fought and earned the right. Lost 4 or 5 jobs, lost family, lost respect. I've been disrespected by some of the best of them. That's why I don't depend on them to do the things some of you think they're supposed to do. They're not coming. The voucher's bigger than you ever think. You will greatly, years from now, underestimate who all was in on the big thing. Damn near they're all on it. Or they've decided for the protection of themselves. Security. Security that in actuality, they cannot even guarantee. You can't say, if I don't fuck the honky, I'm gonna live a little longer, because you could get hit by a car, struck by a fishbone. It doesn't matter. You are in no control of your destiny, so quit fucking around being afraid. What are you afraid of? You have no guarantee on the life you live. So why not let loose a little? Just a little. If not, if the honky can say this, no honky suffered for this. You know what the honky say? We are witnessing today the revival of colonialism in a new form. It's a trend that should be encouraged. Fuck. Do you all remember colonialism? Y'all have to remember this shit. That's what made the different complexions in our skin color. They fucked us. They took the land and set up an illegal enterprise. And now they got this shit so set up, they're fighting reverse discrimination. Man, I just don't understand it. So I ain't gonna spend the 5 hours laying no more of the proof, because the proof is solid. I'm gonna share with you some deeper penetrations, some personal things we've done to give you a little idea about how deep we end up on the honky. And the facts are solid. The people we're after, the people that 15 years ago, somehow some strange little blurry information put me on, the people I fingered all that time ago turned out to be just the honkies that we was after. But if I was to share with you the times I've been cut off the radio, the times I've been denied. I was just in Boston. The black paper ran that I was speaking, called me a speaker from D.C. They would not even print my name because the owner of the paper is in the boule. I mean, you know, it does not mean that the information is wrong. It's just that the people who have to live and abide by the rules of the prosperity and opportunity that they chose really did it at the expense of the rest of us. And we've just never set up a retaliatory mechanism to get it straight. They didn't fuck around and pull Mandela out of jail until they burned the collaborators. No honkies got beat. They did not kill honkies and make them go get Mandela. They killed the buffer to the honky. The pressure on the buffer to the honky. Do you know that I'm banned on radio in Washington, D.C. in an all-black owned station? I'm banned. Why am I banned? Because the motherfuckers in the boule called down there and told them take his ass off. So now, instead of getting 1,000 people out of the election, I have to work 2 weeks to get 500. Not because the information is less, but because I'm going to be denied the opportunity. Ain't nobody ever stepped up and said, well, let me tell you about this part of what you said. It's just, we're not going to have that. I used to be banned on the radio in Chicago. I remember walking on the street fighting for black women who had been injected with a drug called Dilantin. 278 women, 4 of them died, 2 of the kids died, and I was banned on the black radio in the town for the people I was standing up defending. We even won the case. The ladies got $1.4 million, but brother couldn't even go on his own radio. People had to go on and replace me, and they couldn't even mention my name. And somehow, in spite of all of that, Someone has to find the desire to keep going in spite of the agents in place. It's the understanding of knowing that they better get their ass out there. They better dehumanize this operation. They better call this brother the creator of conspiracies. They better. Because if they don't, brother's going to kick that honky ass and I'm going to beat them for being well. It's going to happen. Everybody hedges their bet. I'm going to work with the honky, but be the African thing. That's hedging a bet. You are what is holding us back. I don't want you to misconceive this. Whites do what they're supposed to do. We do contradictory things. We just do strange things. It's costing people their lives too. I wanted to have a lecture at Howard on Columbus Day, but I couldn't because the school was closed. Now at Howard, they don't want Brother Copley to give lectures there no more. Says, I don't know what, I only had 2 in the last year, but had a couple thousand people at them say something. Some they say you don't want Copley to have no more lectures around at the rooms that were made available for the people in the community. The all-black university. Just left Howard Law School, standing at the door, still trying to keep Brother Copley out, 2nd year in a row. Just got canceled from Grambling University. President said, I will not procure a check for Copley to come to speak to the students. The black people, my own people. Never has anyone ever stood up with a document and said, brother, can I change your mind with the evidence? They said, brother, can I shorten your opportunity and lessen a person's chance to hear it? So, in spite of that, we'll share a few reflections about the depth of the hunky, and you tell me if you think he afraid of whatever he think we doing. You'll get a good impression of how he think when his moment is gonna come. And when his moment comes and the shit break out, all the other stuff we wish we had prepared for gonna bypass us. The gig will be up. Unless some of us, it won't have to be all of us, in spite of a few, will go forward and do the things that have to be necessary by constantly penetrating and reevaluating and focusing in on the core of the honkies, the core of negativity, the small little group of those that have to be dealt on to make something significant happen.
Knowledge bone. What's the science, baby?
So that was our ancestor Baba, Steve Coakley Sr., peace be upon him, recounting some of the struggles associated with taking a stand while others were kneeling while others were retreating, while others were surrendering, while others had left us. While many have shrugged away their commitment and responsibility, he stood. 5,000 lectures, 5,000 lectures on everything under the sun, but mainly focusing on drawing back the curtain and revealing the man, woman behind the curtain. The situation where which we find ourselves in, where we have a fratricidal, genocidal, menticidal war with one another, and nothing but good God grace for our enemies. All of the enemies who use exploitation as a tool, who use all of the tricks of the trade that is comprised in the Willie Lynch letter, whether it's authentic or not. It's a psychological evaluation on the impact of the psychological operation that is the diasporic experience in contrast to the mother continent psychological removal and experience. So looking at our experience in everything, and as I said, this is September. This is an ode to the Black woman, an ode to the African woman. One of the reasons and motivations for fighting so hard for liberation, for fighting so hard against confusion and removal. So really having to look at it all together in perspective and see what's most important, what's at stake, everything. What's at stake, everyone. So to look at our children and to say with our mouth that we hold them in the highest regard and that we make all of these sacrifices for our children, and not to properly align them with the identity of who they are and who their enemies are, and who are these people from around the globe who are seeking to annihilate them and teach their children to annihilate them. It's to ill-equip our future generation and not to properly align them with their purpose. So this is a purpose. So in ode to the African woman, I'm going to be quiet and allow one of my sacred elders, many of our sacred elders, Dr. Remember I need to impart some wisdom in regards to what it means to be an African woman. So with that, I'm going to depart from the screen and allow our Queen Mother to bring us home to that space and place as a reminder of our duty and responsibility to the sanctity and the sacredness of the African woman, and our duty and responsibility to the African family, because she is our future. Without her, there is no us. So let's hear from our sacred and beloved warrior, elder, educator, Dr. Remember I need to give us some insight of what it means to be an African woman from an African woman by definition. After that is over, we'll close it out. So thank you to everybody who has tuned in. And for those who will tune in, we owe you a great love and a great thanks. And I hope that you glean from this example and continue to move righteously. And as I said, if you are looking to be a part of this series, to uplift the African woman, you can do so by sending me an email or going to any of those particular sites that I listed earlier, social media wise, and the like. So, with that, I present to you Dr. Remember Ani Warrior Elder.
It's on? It's not on. Doesn't seem like it's on. Can you? It's on, right? You can hear me. So I'm saying thank you, Madasi Adupwe. It's always wonderful to be with African people, with our family. We're gonna start with libation, and it really is appropriate for elders to do the libation, but we are in the Ma'afa, and we are rebirthing, we are reconstructing. And so we have my daughter, Jifa, and a young man, Obadeli, who is the son of Mama Mawia. And Obadeli has been studying what he's showing us the way. The youth are showing us the way. He's been studying the tree language and will lead us in libation. You have some space where people can see you? Please assume a position of reverence, whatever that is for you. Hablar de un loco con trading con comer. Está se ha con el mamá de o con noche a mamá con mamá de nan no me dice o son me dice o su mamá dice mucho a me dice y nan no me na extra mami na go boye mami hace la clase de trading so mami ye o soya bia and soya e viso mo se ya fa den e so son dread e so bottom e so nyasa e so hidaso e so coco duro e so her breath. Please call down the names of all those who could guide us in our learning today. It's you. 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 It's so Susumpa. It's so Toropa. It's so Mojopa. It's so Komapa. It's so Hompa. It's so Brapa. It's so Trapa. It's so Subaipa. Amene me Bushia. Then no, Majensa no. Monikasa. He makes us very proud. This young man is studying Tree language, and doing it in a very serious way, the Akan people in Ghana. Well, I want to thank the family of ASCAC
for having us all be here and for allowing me to share with you today. In the interest of time, because everything is quite late, I'm going to try to go faster and not be as thorough as I would have been. So what I want to do is to begin at the beginning. Begin with the African worldview. Begin to create a context for us understanding what it means to be an African woman now here in Babylon, in the Ma'afa, to understand where we come from. And so let me begin with that. And a lot of the overheads will really be about that, primarily. Giving some information, and I know a lot of it will be new for people, but it's just to point the way to things that we need to study and we need to go into depth. And so that's assignments for all of us to do the research that needs to be done. Let's begin with the paradigm of healthy development for African people, the natural cycle of African cultural development of African civilization. Ma'at, we're going to begin in Ma'at, feel ourselves to be people who begin in Ma'at, and then using the rhythm of Ma'at, we develop African civilization. Ma'at representing African wholeness, African health, the source of African being, truth, Ma'at, reciprocity, Ma'at. And this is how we begin, and then we develop our civilization. We do the work of that development, which is what our ancestors did. And in so doing, we need to periodically remind ourselves of who we are. This is what our ancestors would do when we were in a situation of health. And so that periodic cleansing and reminding and recentering is Sankofa. Sankofa, a term that we get from the Akan people, the Adinkra symbolic system, Sankofa, return, go back, turn and go back, turn and go back and go back and fetch it, return to the source. All of this is in the meaning of Sankofa. And then we would continue our work. If you can see the cycle becomes a spiral, it is a process, and we would move back again to Ma'at, which would inspire us again. You know, we drink from the well again to know what was the truth of our work as African people. And then we would move out again, and we would work again, and we would need to be renewed again, and we would cleanse ourselves, and that would be Sankofa. And what I'm suggesting is that the natural cycle of African cultural development is the alternation, the repetition of Ma'at, Sankofa, Ma'at, Sankofa, Ma'at, Sankofa, and so forth. And you see the umbilical cord, which is connecting us always to Ma'at, the mother. Ma'at, the mother. That divine female principle which inspires us, sets us off on our way, and connects us to the energy force of our beginnings, our wholeness, and our health. So it's in that context that we want to go quickly and look at some of the things that it has meant to be a woman in African health. The next one is just briefly to remind ourselves of Sheikh Anta Diop's work that has come to be called the two cradle theory, which pointed to the differences, the kind of antithetical relationship or oppositional relationship between the African worldview and the European worldview. We don't have time to go in that in depth, but it helps us to orient ourselves. It helps us to give a context. And so he talked about these aspects of cultures, the environment, and then we look at the means of survival, we look at the lifestyle and so forth. And on one side, you see the Aryan development, which of course came later. It came after the Southern cradle development, but then let's look at the Southern cradle development where you see a mother-focused, matrifocal, what he called matriarchal worldview and civilization. Matriarchal term being used here with some caution because it does not refer to the domination by women or dominance of women. He said that it referred to a society which was in balance and beneficial to the family, to both men and women. So you have to say this. In the complementary system, you have the OB, who is the male leader of the entire society. And then you have the Omu. Omu is like a term that means mother. The Omu is the head of the marketplace. She is the person in authority for women, for spiritual issues. The marketplace is like the most important place where people come together, where important decisions are made, where goods are gathered, distributed, where women are able to be involved in and express their entrepreneurial skills. The marketplace is an extremely important, like the heart of the society, and the Omu is the leader of the market. This system is so intricate and complex, and we don't have time to go into it now, but I want to give you an idea of the Omu and her place in the society and what the market means. The term here is ahia for market. It is the gathering of the people. The Omu calls together the various Ikporo Ani, if you can remember, that was the council from the villages, to come together when there are important decisions to be made. So we have here among the Igbo a decentralized, highly organized system of decision making. The Omu being a central figure as the mother, and the various other representatives informing decisions that are made for the whole, and then them being taken back to the entire society for their approval. Now, this is something that's interesting that I think we need to look at. And that is that we use the term Queen Mother. But what I'm finding in terms of African society is that to say mother is to say queen. So that it's really in the language is being redundant to say queen mother. It is assumed, it's incorporated in the concept of motherhood, because motherhood it's a term that means so many things, but it's a political term. It's a cultural term. It means, it's like a set. It is the one who is responsible for the society in a particular way. The one who nurtures the society, the one who stabilizes the society, all of those things. So Omu would be Queen Mother. And of course, we know a lot of other terms. We know Asante Hema. We know, in every Iyalode. All of these terms we have in every African society, which is this mother concept. This is part of what it means to be an African woman. This is the legacy that we must use to inspire our development, and that brothers and sisters alike must reclaim and learn to use in terms of the strengthening and rebuilding of African civilization. So that's the Igbo. And I'm gonna move real fast through just so that we can see how it works around the continent. Try to go fast. I'm just giving, what I did was to go throughout different societies and take terms that represented the icons in history. Right? Yeah, that's the one I have. Okay. Mujaji 1, 2, and 3 from Monomatapa. Because we've been looking at just some societies in Africa, but we need to look at Zimbabwe, we need to look at Southern Africa and see the patterns, the common patterns that we see there. Amida and Zinga, of course, we know, and we are calling forth that spirit. We name ourselves when we use these names. We got to understand what that represents. These represent the heroes, the leaders, the warrior heroes of Africa. Ya Asantewa, Hatshepsut, the various Candaces, because there's a series of Candaces. This is just people who know African history, they will know. And Professor Clark could tell you, this is just the tip of the iceberg. This is very little. So you see, brothers and sisters out there who are doing your research, who are studying, who are preparing yourselves to be the leaders that we need, the organizers really that we need. This is what you've got to do. You've got to study this in depth. And this is what Dr. Clark was asking us to do, by the way. Then let's go to the next one, and very quickly, what I call the mothers of the nation. We've already talked about that, the leaders of the women. So among the women, they would also have their leaders. You have the Omu, you have the Iyalode, which is the Yoruba term, the Asante Hema, which people know about. And there's the complementarity with the Asante Heni. Mafo, coming from Bamaleki people, Nemoye from the Nupe people. The Sowe is from the Sunday Society among the Mende people and other people close to the Mende, Sierra Leone. The Sunday Society is a powerful women's society which is growing. It is growing. It is not, we're not talking about relics, that can be put, as Dr. Clark says, in the trash can of history. We're talking about viable forms of organization, which we need to use as models now and give new life to. And and within the Sunday Society, which is an organization for all women, which teaches young women how to be women and teaches women how to take positions of political leadership, this organization is growing. The numbers have been growing. It is getting larger. It is not diminishing. The Sowe would be the mothers or the teachers, the big sisters within Sunday Society. And then there are many others. So let's move on to the next one. I've already mentioned Sunday, something everybody needs to know about. You need to read a book called Radiance from the Waters by Sylvia Boone, Yale Press. And then here are some other terms on the left, which represent women's organization in various societies, and we could talk about that at another time. Specifically, on the right, we have rituals of female power and sacred space. Now, this is extremely important. Gelede, for instance, and I think I have a picture. Yeah, let's just move on to that since we don't have a lot of time. This is a mask of Gelede. Gelede is among the Yoruba. We need to study it very closely because what this represents is is a huge festival. It represents ritual. It represents ceremony. It represents a process where Yoruba people come together to honor what they consider to be mother power, mother energy, but they are also, in addition to honoring it, they are calling on it for the entire society. You see, if we don't have that divine mother force supporting what we do, then we're weakened. And it is that force that has enabled us to this miracle of survival as African people that we have called upon at every juncture in our history, that we, because of how we've been taught to think in terms of male, female, and so forth, are ignoring, not studying, not understanding, and it's also getting, how should I put it, maybe perverted, distorted, as it is expressed by European feminists, you see, who want to claim African concepts, African culture, and say that they're theirs. You know, you get these Swedish women who are writing these books and so forth, and then put that in a context of being women against men, being women fighting men, men fighting women. That's the context that they come out of. Hey, that's for them. You know, they're continuing their legacy. That's how they came out of the caves, was in terms of a battle between difference. You understand? Whereas the difference for us, as Mama Iva points out, is oppositional unity, is that everything in nature works that way, that you need those two principles to work together in order for there to be creation and recreation and the continuity and continuation of life and culture. So that in honoring this mother principle, our people understood what they're doing and still understand what they're doing. This next is a picture of a Gelede festival in Nigeria among the Yoruba people. Yeah, this next briefly again, don't have time to do a lot on this, but I want you to get a feeling of how in all African societies you have seen this divine feminine principle expressed in a form that people could relate to as divinity, as Orisha, as Neteru, as Abusum, and so forth, whichever term we use, whatever language we use. And so you'll be familiar with some of these terms. Neat, who Brother Rashidi has talked about. In his articles, you need to look at Black women in antiquity, where he talks about what mothers of civilization, I think she is depicted or talked about as the vulture that pierces her thigh in order to feed her young. What's the image there? What's the image in terms of the sacrifice of African women? You know, my mother used to say that. She said, an African woman will do anything she has to do to feed her child. And she didn't know none of this. Okay, I mean, she knew it, you know, in another sense, but she hadn't read all of this stuff. She hadn't done the research. Aset, Ma'at, Asasaya, the earth, Asasaya, the creator, actually. Asasaya, who works along with Nyame, and people need to look at that, Asasaya among the Akan people. Very important, Asasaya. That name is said, and we say her, but we don't really mean her, you know, in the sense of we are her. We're talking about an energy. We're talking about a force. Thank you very much, Mama Safira. We're talking about a way of tapping into a force that we need if we are to be healthy. Let us not lose that. Let us not lose it because of the religious conceptions that we have taken on for survival and then allowed our minds to be, and our spirits to be incarcerated in. Let us not deny this divine female principle. Okay. Oya Oshun, Oshun, Oshun. That divinity of femaleness, Oshun, the essence of femininity. Yemoja, the mother. Yemoja, the ocean. These are forces, spirits, and energies along with Ogun, Shango, that have allowed us to be warriors on this continent and in South America and in the Caribbean. We have performed ritual dances to them with weapons in our hands because Oya becomes the warrior when she needed to be the warrior. And that's what the African mother does. And the next one is just to show you how the appositional unity and the complementarity works itself out in African society. So the terms that you're seeing here represent various African societies throughout the continent where you have the male term and then you have a female, and these are positions in the society which work together in a complementary structure. These are models. These are paradigms for political organization, for social organization. These are the ones that we should be using in our organizations. Okay? And I think, okay, now briefly, everything is briefly. And I am going, if you know me, this is going real fast. The life cycle, I just want you to kind of think about that, feel it in your soul, that life as process where we move through stages of development, which is bringing us closer and closer to manifesting as ancestral spirit, which is what is the basis of our society. This is the life cycle, where every stage is connected to every other stage. This is the responsibility of that mother principle to make sure that this thing is happening. And it is through the womb of the woman that is guaranteeing that the life cycle continues. Because it is in our wombs that we carry the ancestors, as well as the ancestors who are the seeds of the future, of the continuity. So this life cycle tells us about the importance of the ancestors who represent our immortality, our continuity, the ancestors who represent our collective consciousness, our ancestral consciousness. And then I have attempted to, well, I'm using some terms, go ahead. Again, if we use this female principle, you see that spiral, you see that it gives you the feeling of the cycle in the womb, using terms from Dogon of the various levels in the process of knowledge. And what I'm showing is how you can take those terms, Jiri So, Beni So, Bolo So, Sodai, Sotani, and Aduno So, representing ever deepening stages of knowledge and ever expanding horizons and conceptions, so that when Aikwe talks about finding the larger self, that's what we're in the process always of doing. How do you connect this smallest self to the largest self and understand it in those terms and understand it as cosmos? You see, because that's what we are. We are the cosmos. We are the universe. So I'm taking these terms and using them to then, I got 15 more? Is that what I got? Okay. Using them to then talk about ancestor communion as a process of personal development. And this I would like to spend a lecture on. So I got to do that at another time. But I'm using the Dogon terms to talk about stages in our the development of our consciousness and the use of our spiritness, so that we would begin with recognizing who our ancestors are and then calling forth their names and so forth. And then we would set up shrines, and we move to taking on the responsibility for healing our ancestral line. You see, because that's what we have to do. That's what we have to do. And every morning I give thanks, not just to the ancestors whose names I know, but to the names that I don't know. Because I think about our ancestors who were creating a cultural womb. That's what the village is. That's what the civilization is. That's what the society is. It is a womb with it that nurtures us as African people. They lived in those villages, and then they were snatched from them. Snatched from them and stripped of everything they had. Not slowly, but suddenly. It's like if you woke up tomorrow morning and you couldn't find anybody, you were in a place that you didn't recognize, and you didn't have nothing. Now, I want you to think about that. I want you to think about, what do you do with that? And how do you continue living? Okay? So I think about them, and then I think about them being put in chains and marched down to the coast, and then put into the dungeons, the dank, dark dungeons, in terror, and then being squeezed out through this hole of no return, and then taken down to these ships and put into the holes of the ships where there wasn't room for a person to be. You had to be cramped like this, and you had to be cramped like that for months, not a night, not a week, but for months. How do you do that? And it has been described by the Europeans who described this scene as talking about the stench of a slaughterhouse. I don't know how many of you have experienced Chicago, but I don't think they have it anymore. But I remember when they used to have the stockyards, the smell of those stockyards. You imagine us having to survive in that, in blood and feces and mucus, but we did, okay? Some of us took the courageous position of survival. That took courage. Others took the courageous position of saying, I'm out of here. I'm not gonna deal with that. But the ones who survived, then they're brought to these shores, and then they're put on auction blocks without clothes on, and sold and then put into a situation of terror for hundreds of years and made to work for a demon, okay? Now, through all of that I just described, what our ancestors did was to have children. Think about that. They had children. Who had children? Who had children? Who had children? Who had your parents? Who had you? Okay? And that's why you're here. And what does that mean? What does that mean about your life? What does it mean about mine? We made our choice already. We made our choice in the spirit world. We chose to be African so that we could live in such a way that we would avenge our ancestors. That's what we chose. Okay, so I'm gonna skip some stuff and come, and what I have just described is my Afa. And then you look at that, remember the original one. Remember the natural cycle. Well, we're not in the natural cycle anymore. We got Ma'afa here, which is disease, okay, which separates all of that, disrupts it, disrupts the rhythm. In Ma'afa, our children are being taken away from us while we become caretakers for the enemy's children, okay? And I want to mention Sister Modukwe Sais, who I remember coming to First World and talking about that divine African mother principle and how Europeans always recognize that and take our women to be their mothers. And the pain of that, the humiliation of that. The Ma'afa has made us afraid to know ourselves, afraid to go into the matrix, into the womb, afraid to be intimate with ourselves, afraid to be intimate with Africa. If we want to be able to defeat the enemy and to heal our fragmented nation, we will have to touch deeply inside, reaching to the core, and become spiritually intimate with each other again. We have to have the courage to know each other deeply and to touch each other deeply. Now, okay, I'm gonna give you some quick stuff, and I'm not even gonna talk much, but I'm gonna say that God presented to us in these terms, allowed things to be done to our brothers and our men and our fathers. And these are the things that could be done to us in his name. These are the things that are done. This is a sister to our mothers. And so our children watched as these things were done to their mothers and to their fathers. And while our mothers took care and nurtured their children, because we had to. You can skip that one. And so in terms of the paradigm, Ma'at is our wholeness. Ma'afa is the shattering of our people. Sankofa has got to be the process of bringing us back together again. And with the help of Mario Beatty, we are reaching back to see the concepts and ideas and symbols that are there that our ancestors created. And here, this one represents to nurse. This is what Mario has taught me, to nurse, to suckle. And if I had time, I would talk about the significance of what it means to nurse a child. Because in doing that, through that mother's milk comes the ancestral consciousness, the cultural genes. It is a continuation of the womb. Outside of the body is that breast, and African people have understood that. That's why breastfeeding is always so important. And this one, glyph means to nurse or to rear. The concept of rearing, of nurturing a young African being, that is the most politically important act that we can be doing at this time or ever. And that's the glyph for it. That is the most important thing that we can be doing, and that's the mother principle, and that's what it means to be an African woman. And now I want you to see what it means to be an African woman in terms of our ancestors, our ancestral legacy. Now, let me say this. The pain of the Ma'afa is real, okay? And we're living now in Ma'afa. But there's the glory of what it means to be African. And that's where you get your strength from, to make you know we can do this. Because our mothers did it, our fathers did it. We can do this, we can handle this, okay? Now I want you to look at what's on that screen, on that wall. And you need to look at, please, look at me here. Look up there, because this is affirming and this is victorious. The sign and the symbol, the Muduneta for the Ka. Everybody see it? Yes. Now, if you know anything about Kemet, you know that that is African divinity. All right? That's as divine as you can get. Your Ka. Okay? It is the spirit, the essence of being, the Asili. The next symbol there, which is Kat, again, Mario taught me this stuff, means vagina. Now look at that and think about it as you look about it and feel it as you're looking at it. All right? Why am I talking about something like that here to this audience, you know, in public, a word we don't even use, right? What is that saying? That is associating that part of a woman with the most divine part of humanity. I'm not saying they're doing it. I'm not making this up, right? We just looking at the language. That's what Mario is doing for us. You understand? This next one, Baka, means to be pregnant. What is it saying? It is saying to carry the cup, to carry divinity within you. That's what our ancestors felt about being an African woman. And I say to you, sisters, especially with all the pain you're going through, with all the conflicts you're going through, and searching for good relationships and trying to deal with your children and so forth, you've got to take strength from the fact of what it is that we come from. And we come from a line of women who are political organizers, women who functioned in support of the collective and part of a collective. All African women belong to a collective of women now. You hear what I'm saying? And what Mama Safira was saying, we have to come together to heal each other, and in that healing is power. Women's collectives. Women speak for the ancestors, okay? When we have our periods, when we have our menses, that is not dirty, that is the connection with the ancestors. And so there's wisdom that's coming through that. And the society would learn from us, so they put us in a special place so that we could connect with the ancestors. We were just taught that last week here by an Akan priest. As African women, we are mothers, which means queen. We give birth to the symbolic. We teach, we heal. We are involved in the womb process, which is the blood of the ancestors. And so the MTDA comes through us, all right? As African women, we represent the continuity and the stability of the society. We represent the culture. We represent the marketplace. We are divine. We are the spiritual leaders and thinkers. And so our men can support us in that, help us in that, work with us in that, and we support them because we come together on the level of society and family, and we are one. That's what it means to be African. It ain't about fighting each other, but we have got to affirm affirm who we are, because the power in being an African woman is tremendous. And what we're going to end with, and I've skipped a whole lot of stuff, but we're going to end with, we're not even going to do that, G. What we're going to do, I hope I have, do I have it? Oh, it's right here. Is we took a group of sisters through a process. Jeepa was 15 years old. There were 6 of them. And Mama Safira helped us do that. Mama Jerry was there for the ceremony. Baba Kobe was there for the ceremony. And this was the pledge. Jeepa's going to read it. That these young sisters had to give. And with that, we will end. And I want to say that Mbogoni is a term used from the Sunday Society for those young sisters who are going through training to be women.
Y'all have to bear with me because the spirit in here is kind of hot. I'm sitting kind of close to it, so it's kind of bothered. And I used to know this by heart, so I still have to kind of read it. We are Mbogboni, preparing to be who we must be. We are African women. We are Ni, Aset, Het Heru, Asaseya, Yemanya, Oya, and Oshun. We are Ma'at, the truth in all things. We will seek justice for our people. We will balance the scales. We are African women. We are warrior women. We are Ya Asantiwa, Nahanda, Nani, Harriet, and Fannie Lou. We are African women. We are Mawu, complementarity, reciprocity, wholeness, intuitive wisdom, creativity, and love. We are life-giving. We are the rhythm of our people. We are African women. We are Mutnater, divine motherhood. We are the moral sanction of our community, our people's connection to their ancestors and to those yet to come. We are nurturing, caring, proud, determined, and serious. We are the teachers of the way. We are the blood of our people. We are African women. With our men, we will build families for the future. And with them, we will produce African children so that our nation may grow and the ancestors may be reborn. We are the continuity of our people. We are African women. We are preparing to be the organizers, revolutionaries, visionaries, and nation builders of tomorrow. We are accountable to the ancestors and we will avenge their spirits. We will live for our people and die for them, if necessary. We are the destiny of our people. We are African women. We are the healers of the race, the spirituality of our people. We are Mbogboni, preparing to be who we must be.
Yeah. Now we gonna tell them that in front. We tell them like this, yo. I'm an African. I'm a African. I'm an African. I'm a African. Yeah, y'all like that? So no more. This man's mind is open. I'm an African. I'm a African. I'm an African. I'm a. Let's get back to the gritty.
Best developed by recognizing the common enemy.
Knowledge bomb. What's the science, baby?